So is there anything that, I suppose, as a psychologist, that you say to people or that you kind of instruct people to kind of do and think about to avoid getting to that point of depression?
Well, like just say if people start with anxiety, yes, there would be. So people don't just get stuck with it to go on with depression. And look, it relates to this. I generally describe to people when they come with any problem, they see me as a psychologist, they come with a problem, and I generally say to people, look, when you see a psychologist with a problem, generally you've got two problems. The first one is the problem that you're seeking help with. It might be anxiety or a relationship problem or trauma reaction or whatever. But then the second problem that people typically have is their reaction to the first, which can be feeling anxious about being anxious, or ashamed of having a trauma reaction, or feeling anxious about being depressed, or feeling depressed about being anxious. Like, people tend to have a reaction to having a problem, like say panic attacks or whatever, usually in the form of some kind of non-acceptance or shame. Now, people think they shouldn't have the problem in the first place. And this gets back to the idea of tolerating it. If we can come to understand of what kind of things are influencing our anxiety, the triggers for it, and we have some kind of understanding of, or acceptance of how we might have developed that problem in the first place, and we're a bit forgiving of ourselves and a bit compassionate for ourselves or whatever, then often it's easier to learn strategies to not get too anxious about the anxiety, or not too distressed about it, or not too judgmental about oneself, for that, not too ashamed of it, so to speak. Because if we're dealing with anxiety in itself without being overly self-critical or judgy, if you like, then there are lots of strategies that can be really helpful for helping reduce the anxiety and not just getting caught up in that helplessness.